Welcome to Hide and Seek TV. It's your boy Hide and Seek. I'm back. I'm about to get ready to do a very deep video. I'm going to be talking about the failing banks with the digital currency that's unfolding. I'm going to be breaking down about the Louisville bank shooting. Talk deep on that as well. So, and multiple other things, you know what I mean? But I'm going to start it out as it's written in that day. There should be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord, and there should be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts. So as you can see, the top of the altar is measured at 76 degrees. And I'm going to break that down. You know, the number 7 is the number of spirit, 6 the number of flesh, and it foreshadows the kingdom to come, as it's written, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ, aka Yahushua. So I'm going to break this down right quick, and I'm going to explain this because everything is coming ahead, man. So as it's written in Revelation 12, and this is already foreshadowing how the Messiah was coming in 1976. He was born in 1976. I already broke this down billions of times in my videos. You know, as it's written in Revelation 12, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, and a woman clothed with the sun and moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars, and she being with child, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head, sought to destroy the man-child, sought to destroy the woman, destroy the man-child as soon as the woman was getting ready to deliver him. As soon as he was born, in 19, obviously the 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 times 10 is the 70s. In 1973, abortion was legalized. You know what I'm saying? 1975 was the first condom commercial because they knew 1976 he was going to be born. That's why feminism was heavy in the 70s as well, because they was trying to sway the mother of the Messiah. Remember the song by It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right? I think it was Lynn Collins. They was pushing that, yeah, I don't need no man. We gonna use our body for what we want to use it for, That was they was pushing that heavy during that time. You know what I'm saying? Because they already knew the Messiah was going to be born in 1976. When he was going to rule nations with a rod of iron, and he was caught up into the throne of the Most High, you know. And obviously, when you translate praise the Lord, it becomes Louis Eternal. Hint, hallelujah, Louis Eternal. Hint, Messiah's name is Carol Lewis Williams II. I've been showing that millions of times in my video, and I'm going to get into that later on in the video. But obviously, the Lewis Eternal, hint, the praises of the Most High. So let's get deeper into this. So, as it's written in Revelation 13:16, and this is talking about the beast mark that's coming, the beast system that is fulfilling right in front of our eyes. And as it's written, he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So I'm gonna break this down right quick. So first off, the guy, they said that was out in Louisville. They say he was 23 years old. They said he wounded many people. So I want to get real deep into this. You know what I'm saying? I want to get deep into this because it's all in our face. You feel me? Everything is in our face, and there's no way around it. So, hint Louisville, hint Louis, Eternal, Louis. You feel what I'm saying? And obviously, as you can see, you got the Abraham. Notice how it's near they had to have the shooting near the Jewish hospital, hint Jewish, and then hint the Abraham. You know what I'm saying? I want to get deep on this because, as you can see, hint Billy Goat. They had to have the Billy Goat too. Remember, as it's written in number 776, the Messiah is the goat offering. And notice that it was by the Louisville Sluggers field parking lot. So hint Louisville Slugger, hint the Messiah. Yes, just remember we just read it that he will hold the bat. You know what I'm saying? That he will hold the rod. You know what I mean? And if you remember the show Lovecraft Country, remember the main character, her name was Lewis. Or this is Lewis right here. As you can see, that's Lewis. And remember Jackie Robinson was using the bat to slay demons on there. Had the Louisville Slugger. So notice they had to have it by the Louisville Slugger. and by Abraham. Remember, as it's written, the Most High is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I'm saying? So hit the whole thing too. Obviously, you have to have it by the St. Louis Bertrand Catholic Church and the St. Louis. And the streets was, it's by Lou Coffee as well. But notice the street is by 7th and 6th Street. Remember, I broke it down on my one. I broke down about the chocolate factory explosion out in Reading, Pennsylvania. And remember that was by 7-6 as well. Remember I broke it down. Remember how on Willy Wonka, remember Charlie in the chocolate factory. Charlie gets the kingdom, the chocolate factory from William. As it's written in Exodus 3:14, the Most High said his name is I am that I am. So I hit the will of I am, the will of God. Anyway, the chocolate factory was symbolic of Israel dwelling within the kingdom. And that's why they had to have the explosion, right by 7th and 6th Street. They know the gathering is coming together. So as you can see, the 7 and 6, you know what I'm saying? And how all this stuff comes together, man. It's literally right by angels' envy as well. That's crazy. But let's keep it rolling. So notice they had to have the 333, a high Masonic number as well, the 333, and it's right by the waterfront park. And the waterfront, and the rivers of life. You know what I'm saying? Notice it was on Jackson Street, hence the son of Jacob Jackson. And then notice, remember I said 7, 6 is the number of the spirit, and 6, 7. They had to have a 67 in there because 6 is the number of flesh trying to overpower the spiritual kingdom to come. So look at this. And you see that 54 right there? Look at this, y'all. On a scene on the Final Destination 3, Lewis' death scene, and they got the 54 right there with blood on it because the 5 is the Son of Man. It's the number of the Son of Man. And 4 represents the 4 corners of the earth. So you see how they had to have that on the scene as well after 6, 7. I want to just show that. You know what I mean? And notice how the guy, his name was, I know his last name was Sturgeon. His name was Connor Sturgeon. And Connor represents the cornerstone, cornerstone. And his last name was Sturgeon. Because when you understand the sturgeon, hint that deals with fish eggs, with caviar, with fish eggs. Remember how symbolic it is because it's written in Matthew 4:19, and he said unto them, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. So hint the Connor, cornerstone, and then sturgeon, the fisherman, you know what I mean? The fish egg, seeking new souls of heaven. And how everything's coming together with the banking system because it's all about to become what? A central bank. It's all about to become a one world order. You know what I mean? Take the mark of the beast is the only way you're able to purchase and buy what you need. Excuse the language, but they was predating this on the Purge movie when they brought forth the new law, the new founding fathers. But pay attention to this.
Just a fucking purge! All the shit that eats me up!
Purge. Interesting term. You may have a chance to purge soon.
Look at this.
Unemployment rising across the nation.
Stock market down another 2,000 points and the largest drop in its history.
A subprime mortgage crisis worse than 2008.
Neighborhoods across the country destroyed by an opioid epidemic.
Protests across the nation. Americans are looking for a necessary change in these tumultuous times.
Citizens growing angry as they face a collapsing economy.
Yeah, all the rage and everything got to be established, bringing forth the new law because of the failing banks, the failing economy. And as is written in Revelation 18:17, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all accompanying ships and sailors and many as trade by sea stood afar off. Remember during the time of ancient Egypt, remember during the time of Joseph, Egypt's money was failing as well. And this is right during the time right before the time of Moses being born. But you remember the Exodus during the time of the felon economy. Remember, the Most High sent 10 plagues during the time of Moses. Obviously, Joseph is way before Moses' time, but notice how Egypt was having a felon economy. You know what I'm saying? And then when you go later on into it, during the time of Moses, obviously the Exodus came, and the Most High sent the 10 plagues. You feel what I'm saying? And everything that's unfolding right now. The Euphrates rivers drying up now. I mean, the Mississippi River is drying up. A lot of things is failing. You feel what I'm saying? A lot. Like everything is coming to a halt. You know what I'm saying? Notice how they keep derailing all the trains because it's symbolic, but they know the Exodus is near. The Exodus and us leaving out of the spiritual Egypt that we are in. So they're trying to symbolically destroy the trains, trying to say we won't leave this, this world that we're in. And right now, obviously, you got Russia, Iran, and China, and South Africa. Notice they're trying to create their own. They're creating their own currency. And the whole thing, a one world system, a one world order. Because as written in Revelation 17:16, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And the spiritual Egypt, the spiritual Babylon that we're living in America, it's coming in not, man. Preparing to be destroyed. And it's all becoming digital money because it's blasphemy, as it's written in Matthew 6:19. Lay not for yourselves treasures upon the earth, where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. So hence, store your treasures in heaven. So that's why they're making, obviously digital money. You feel what I'm saying? And they already know the Messiah is upon the earth. That's why they're trying to have us reject them, and they're raising up these false Christs, these antichrists. You know what I'm saying? Everything's coming ahead, man. As it's written in John 15:18, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. And the whole thing, how they reject, the Messiah, reject the Comforter. Notice the new Metro Boomin, Don Toliver Future song, Too Many Nights. Notice how they're in black and white masonry, dancing inside the temple of the Most High. See how they dancing, how they walking through the temple of the pyramids. They trying to block us from entering and exiting out of the spiritual Egypt, entering into the kingdom. As it's written in Revelation 3:12, we will be pillars in his temple. So you see how they're dancing on the floor, blaspheming, blaspheming the foundation of the world, which is the Messiah upon the earth. See how they're trying to block us from entering into the temple and block him from entering. Same thing back in the day. DMX had the song Get It on the Flow. And this is from a movie right here, I think 17 again with Tia and Tamara. And you see how they're dancing on the checkerboard floor. They love to blaspheme the foundation, which is the Messiah. And this, for example, tow trucks, was created by a man named Ernest Holmes. And obviously one of his grandsons' name was Bill. And Bill is William. And obviously with tow trucking, what do you use? You use a chain and a hook. Because as it's written, we must uplift the Messiah. He is the rock that we must uplift. And, raise him up to become the headstone, the head ruler of the kingdom. That's why in Psalms 118:22, as it's written, they removed the headstone, and that's when they made the all-seeing eye on the Illuminati pyramid, and they removed him from being the headstone. That's why it has no headstone. It just has an all-seeing eye. I'll pull it up right quick for people who are not familiar. But as you can see, hold on, all come together, man. As you can see, it's literally it's no headstone. It's just an all-seeing eye. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to be their own gods. You feel me? So it's all coming together, man. It's all about who got the eyes to see and ears to hear in these times. So, real. But anyway, we must raise him up. You know what I'm saying? So hint Bill is short for William, hint the I am that I am. Hint anyway, I brought up the tow truck because, Kara, the word car derives out of Kara, which don't mean nothing but anointed Messiah. Hint Ka means soul, Ra means light. That's why they love to destroy cars. You know what I'm saying? They make you your own driver. You steer your own way. You feel me? You don't need a Messiah. Remember Obama? I already said Obama is the Antichrist. I showed it, done millions of videos on it. And Obama said, we don't need a Messiah. Well, we just need hard-working Americans. You know what I'm saying? So pay attention to this. See the word, look at this. My bad, y'all. I'm sorry. That word Ludwig. The word Ludwig is literally derived out of the name Louis. Ludwig don't mean nothing but Louis. Hint Messiah is the wig. Remember back in the old days, the judges used to wear wigs because that mean that you were a judge, you were a ruler. They were blaspheming the Messiah. Ludwig don't mean nothing but Louis. You can't hurt me no more. Then you see that dog right there too on the phone, because hint the dog is symbolic of what the Messiah being our shepherd. You know what I'm saying? Hint the Lord is our shepherd, I shall not want. Notice they're destroying the car while Louis is inside the car, and why you got Ludwig on his shirt with the dog. You see that? This is deep, man. So hint the name Ernest anyway don't mean nothing but, the one who created the tow truck don't mean nothing but the battle to the death, and how this is eternal war into the end of time, until the kingdom of the Most High is finally fulfilled forever and ever. And what do you use a tow truck for? To carry cars and to get your car back. Hit the whole thing, returning car back to its place. That's why I say you pay your bill, you won't get your car towed and get car removed from your life. See how deep this goes. But the reason why I'm showing this is because I want to talk about a lot of the fighting you've been knowing amongst teammates in the NBA and sports. As you can see, you had Trae Young arguing with his coach. This has always been during timeouts and during practice. Remember Draymond punched Jordan Poole, you know what I'm saying? And the whole thing about that too is because they already know they want us to reject the Messiah in the time that we're going through right now. Remember, as it said, be still and know that he is the Most High. And the Most High already said that he's leading us through. The Exodus is fulfilling. That's why they got them fighting during timeouts and during practice. Hear what I'm saying? Those are times where you're preparing for what the next move. And the Exodus, they want us to reject the Comforter. You know what I'm saying? And you had Rudy Gobert. Remember, he punched Kyle Anderson on the bench. Remember, I said Trae Young was arguing with his coach. And Mason Plumlee battling against Bones Highland. Hint, Mason. And then you got your boy Bones. As you remember during the time of Ezekiel, you had the Valley of Dry Bones, which was Israel without the Spirit of the Most High within their temple. And Mason Plumlee wears number 44. And when you understand the number 44, number 44 is the Ark of the Covenant. That's why Obama had to be the 44th president. Antichrist will rule and try to take hold of the Ark of the Covenant, try to rule the law and be the law of the Most High himself. Have the nations bow to him. You see, as it's written, break your neck by Busta Rhymes with 44 on the card, because Busta Rhymes is saying want to break the neck, they want to remove the Messiah from being the headstone ruler. As you can see, the 44, Ark of the Covenant. And why R.J. Barrett had to fight against Obadiah. Remember, Obadiah in the scriptures speaks on the end times to come when Israel should come back into power, overthrowing their oppressors. the book of Obadiah. Come on, man. And the whole thing too, when you understand about the two kingdoms of Israel, you have the north and southern kingdom of Israel. The north representing, the tribes of Ephraim, and then you have the southern kingdom, being represented by who? By Judah. So you understand how all this stuff comes together. The two heads of their kingdom, to the 12 tribes of Israel. So you got Ephraim and Manasseh. You know what I'm saying? You have Judah in the southern kingdom. And when you understand it, the two sticks, when the two sticks comes together, it fulfills the kingdom. So that's why you always notice they always have the so-called black man battling against the so-called Mexican, Latino, Hispanic. So you understand it too. French Montana, he had the song "Bricks and Bags." Remember, I said it's written in Revelation 3:12 that we will be him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God. And the pillar, the brick, the stone. So you see the composers, Kareen, hint Kareen, Kara, and then you got the composer as well as William. And hint the song is Bricks and Bags. When you understand that whole thing, this is why you ever notice hint during the 80s, obviously the Coke was coming from where? Colombia, and the so-called Hispanic thing. You know what I'm saying? And as it's written in Hosea 13:12, the iniquity of Ephraim is bound up, his sin is hid. The sorrows of a travailing woman shall come upon him. He is an unwise son, for he shall not stay long in the place of the breaking of forth children. I will ransom them from the power of the grave. I will redeem them from death. O death, I will be thy plagues. O grave, I will be thy destruction. Repentance shall be hid from mine eyes. So it's obviously, remember during the time of Ephraim in the book of Hosea, remember Ephraim was doing a lot of iniquity. So as it's written, remember I was saying about, remember the show Snowfall, obviously it showed a connection with the Colombians, etc. Same thing with and the DEA and everything that was getting the drugs from the Paraguay and Colombia, etc., the coke bricks. So as you can see, obviously a so-called Mexican on Snowfall, everybody was all connecting to push weight. Same thing with Big Meats on BMF, how they went to Colombia for the connection for the coke. Hence you get the bricks from Ephraim. Same thing why Scarface had to be a so-called Cuban and he was dealing with coke, getting bricks. You know what I'm saying? Remember as it's written in Isaiah 11, verse 13, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not, vex Ephraim. So notice why they're pushing, hint Israel had to fight Alex, a Brazilian. Hint why they had to push the two kingdoms fighting. That's why it's a main theme in all of sports, especially combat, more so combat, boxing, MMA, and so forth, wrestling. And it's always the so-called black man versus the Hispanic or Latino because they want to keep the kingdom separated. And Israel knocks out Alex. As you can see, he's standing right on the crypto, throwing arrows at him. Hint crypto, the digital currency, to store your treasures in heaven, blasphemy. Hint why on Black Panther 2, you had Neymar versus the Black Panther. Even though the Panther is all energy of the Antichrist in Revelation 13, as it's written, the Antichrist is as a mixed leopard. Hint the Panther is the leopard without spots. And there was nothing but Obama rising up to battle against the children of Judah. That's why Killmonger rose out of America and went back to Africa saying, I want my throne. This is my birthright. And Killmonger was symbolic of the Messiah rising out of America, and T'Challa was symbolic of Obama. And Obama have the Kenyan ties to his father and the Jewish ties to his mother. So all of this stuff comes together, man. Remember the same guy who was Neymar on Black Panther 2, remember he was on the Forever Purge. And remember, he helped lead his family and helped lead, the Gentiles, so-called white man, to Mexico so they can be safe. And the dwelling of the two sticks, you know what I mean? Remember, the so-called black man on the movie was safe because he connected with Ephraim, so-called Latino. And why Tank Davis had to beat up Hector Luis Garcia. He had to beat up Luis. And now he's fighting, Ryan Garcia. And you know how Ryan Garcia said he want Israel Adesanya to sit ringside versus him and Gervonta Davis. And Israel come dwell amongst us in this fight. Get deep. I want to show y'all something. Hint LeBron wears number 6. Dennis Schroeder wears 17. Hint 176. See number 17 and 16. Dennis Schroeder, who just hit the shot, wears 17, and the ref wears 16. Hint 176. Let's talk about it. For people familiar with my Power TV show breakdowns, remember Carrie Milgram, was the professor of Tariq. Hint Carrie, Cara. Remember how they said that she hanged herself, even though Monet, which is Mary J. Blige on the show. Remember she was the one who, basically took out Carrie because she found out that she was dealing with her son Ezekiel. And I'm going to get into this right quick. So you know how they had the line said that she hanged herself because, as it's written, the God of our fathers raised up Yahushua in Acts 5:30, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. Him have God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and savior for us to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness to sins. So he had the whole theme of that. That's why they had to say Carrie, Cara, was hanged. It was showing through hanging was what? The forgiveness of sins. You feel me? You know what I mean? Like, let's get deep. So anyway, remember Monet, he set up the detective named Whitman, who was used to deal with Carrie. Hint wit mean white, white man, Whitman. It's basically saying like hint the purified man thing. But Monet, Mary J. Blige, remember she was the one who killed off Carrie, and now she did the same thing with the detective. Now they set him up to make it look like he broke in their house. A lot of symbolism in that.
Look, don't do this. I'm a fucking cop. There's no way you get away with this.
You tell that bitch Carrie I said what up.
And they always call the Messiah. I can go through a lot of scenes, man. Millions of scenes where they always call him the B word. You know what I'm saying? I can go through a lot of them. I broke it down before. I can show it in a second. I'm going to show you at least one to get right to the point. But they always call him the B word. And the inside, tell her I said hello. After she called her the B. You know what I'm saying? Let me show y'all something right quick. Hint Principal Lewis, American Dad.
I'll step on his foot, and when he opens his mouth to scream, you toss the drugs.
What's that? Drugs? I'll take it. I don't care what it does.
You crazy-ass son of a bitch.
See how all this comes together. Hint, Carrie was dealing with Ezekiel because remember Ezekiel, prophesied of the coming of the Messiah in Ezekiel 1:4. As it's written, and I looked and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. Remember, I broke that down with how the Messiah is in Kansas. Hint, Kansas, area code is 316. Hint, John 3:16. For the Most High sent his only begotten Son for the sake of the whole world. And when you understand that Ezekiel cross on the show, hint, what's his name? So anyway, hint Ezekiel cross. and the crucifixion. Remember, I broke it down already about the carry um in Acts 5. So hint, the carry hit the 33 and you see that white horse, you know what I mean? You see the white horse. Hint 33, and then Ezekiel cross. And then notice you got Deshaun right. Hint right don't mean nothing but son of the carpenter. Hint you got Chris, hint Christ. You know what I mean? And then you got Chuck. Hint Chuck. Remember on Supernatural, Chuck was living in Kansas and his name he was God. Remember I said it earlier how Chuck is a pulley system used to raise up stones. Remember I was talking about the tow trucking. You know what I mean? And we must uplift the Messiah. He's the rock we must uplift. You know what I mean? So it all comes together. And on the show, you got the man named, his name is he's dealing with Monet's, Mary J. Blige's daughter. And his name is Salem, hint Jerusalem. And then he go by Ash Freeman. Remember on the Left 4 Dead, you had Ash Williams because hint the Messiah lead us out of death. You know how we come from being ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We come from being spiritually dead. So I had the gathering up the dead to become living again. So I had Salem, Ash Freeman. Remember on Left 4 Dead, you had Ash Williams, the I am that I am. You feel me? So I want to just cover this, man. And also, I want to mention too, notice how now Luka Doncic ain't in the is not in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? This year, notice Luka Doncic is not in the playoffs. And you notice right now they're in the 11th spot. Remember, Kyrie was wearing number 11 because the number 11 is symbolic of the two doors, the two gates. And hint Luka, and then Kyrie. Kyrie don't mean nothing but Lord. Hint the Most High thing, the Messiah thing. And you know how he came from Brooklyn Nets, hint the net. Remember, I read it earlier pertaining to the Louisville bank shooting. Hint the net, symbolic of what? The fisher of men. And that's why you see the white horse. Remember, I just showed your boy Ezekiel Cross with the white horse. Not saying it to correlate, but I'm just mentioning that white horse because in Revelation 19, as it's written, the Messiah rideth upon the white horse, meaning coming in full glory with his saints. You ride a horse, you are in full glory, full power. You know what I mean? Hint the Mavericks with Luka. So look how deep all that goes. You feel me? So I'm gonna end that right here, y'all. Thank you for watching Hide and Seek TV, man. Much more is coming, man. Peace.